Hello, hello, hello. I'm glad you're back. I am. It's 11:30 ish. It's 11:30 somewhere. Maybe not Newfoundland, but if you're Canadian, you understand what I mean by that. But welcome back. I'm glad you're here with me today. So this is Monday Morning Masterclass number 9, live, Wednesday edition. 2025, July 16. And the topic of today's conversation is going beyond survival. So I'm just going to reorient my screen just a smidgen here so I can keep track of everything that's going on. And there we go. Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, I want to talk to you today about going beyond survival. And this was inspired by something that I discovered yesterday. I'll get into that in a minute. But before I do that, I just want to review, again, 3 key principles of mine for a good mindset to help you go take your dreams into planning mode and your plans into reality. So, again, those 3 key principles of mine are: number one, that your mindset matters. That's why I'm doing these live mindset masterclass. And your mindset matters because you going beyond survival matters. That's important. It's important to get beyond that point. And number two, invest in yourself. Principle number two, invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. When you invest in yourself, you can and you will go beyond mere survival. And number three, take one action today. Take one action, just one action, small action, but take one action today to move yourself forward because without action, your desires are just dreams. They stay there. You can't go beyond survival if you never take action to move your dreams forward. So, again, today we're talking about going beyond survival, and I'm really excited for this one. So, I don't have an internet definition of this. Survival is pretty straightforward, but for purposes of this chat, I'm going to say survival just equals getting by, right? Just making it. And so many people are in that phase or in that stage in their life, and they could be young people, middle-aged people, or older people, and they're just getting by. They're just surviving. And part of that, I believe, and I believe this in part because I believe it. I believe it's true from my experience, from what I've learned, but also, um, and I'm reminded of this yesterday as I was processing some thoughts and some mindset things in my own life. So I was reminded that how easy it is to get stuck in a mindset of survival, just surviving, right? I've just got to survive. I just got to survive. Just got to survive. And when that's your mindset, is I just got to survive, and that's as far as you take your mindset or allow your mindset to take you, that's as far as you ever get. You're always in the mode of survival, trying to survive, hoping to survive, hoping you don't not survive, So I want to help you shift, and you don't, you know, survival can be more than just for some people. It's not just a matter of, oh, I'm just getting by. That's true, right? But it could be just getting by, say in your career where you may be earning money, maybe earning good money, but you're just getting by. You're surviving. And example of that is, I met a woman last night who worked for a company she hated for 5 or 6 years. Myself, I worked for Canada Post for almost 6 years, and I met some really good people there, but most of it I hated, right? And why did I stay? She asked me. I asked her, why did you stay there? And part of that, I think, I won't speak to her situation, but part of it for me when I was at Canada Post, part of it was being in that mode of, this is what I'm used to, this is what I'm doing now. Like, why upset the cart kind of thing? I don't know what else is out there. And part of that is a survival mentality, right? I'm here to survive. I'm just surviving. Like, I don't have capacity to do more than what I'm doing right now, which is stay at this job that I hate. So you might be in a situation like that and be earning decent money. I was earning $90,000 a year and I hated it, but I was still in this survival mode. I couldn't get myself far enough beyond that to actually make a significant dent, move myself up to a new level where leaving a job I hated was not only easy, but something I could celebrate and et cetera, right? So it's not just about financial, literal survival, just paying your bills. It could be about just being stuck where you are in a job you hate or a situation you don't love, because to risk losing that risks your survival. So that's what I want some of you are at today, and that's not what I want for you, but that's where some of you are at, and that's what I want to address today. So, I believe that if you're like me, you're a semi-normal person, and B, you have a dream, a need, a desire. You want some part of your life to be different somehow. You want a better life for yourself and for those around you and your family and those you care about, right? So the problem is when you do how like well, sorry, let me back up. The problem with that is the problem with where you're at. The problem I think you're having, the problem I've been having or have had is, how do you go beyond a survival mindset when you've been in survival mode for a long time, right? Um, and or how do you go beyond survival when you've recently been through something traumatic, right? And it could be a breakup, it could be a job loss, it could be being forced to move or having to move, or just the process of moving is traumatic for many people. I hate it. Um, and look, I'm not a psychologist. I do know some really good psychologists. There's a couple in my cohort. I'd be happy to refer you to if you need that for trauma, counseling, that kind of thing, right? But beyond that, there's something that I've observed lately that I want to talk about, as I mentioned, and I think it'll make sense when I do that. So whether you're financially just surviving, whether you're emotionally just surviving in a relationship or in a career job you hate or aren't happy with, or whether you're in survival mode just by being afraid to risk, being afraid to take a chance and go for something that you really want. Here's something that I've observed lately from the time that I've spent on Instagram, of all places, that I believe may be helpful to you. And so here it goes. When I am on Instagram, I do, obviously, creating a live right now. I do lots of creation of content, and I share that on multiple platforms. This video is shared live on Facebook, YouTube, one of my YouTube channels, and here on I say here on also on LinkedIn. So depending where you're listening to it, here might be LinkedIn, might be Facebook, might be YouTube. Anyway, so part of where I get some of my inspiration and where I get some of my downtime is I spend time on Instagram, and I do that because there's stories there, and I love stories. There's lots to learn. The stuff that's fed to me is mostly helpful for coaching and helpful for business and helpful for mindset and these kinds of things. So I absorb, I enjoy, I see so much of this kind of stuff that I've started saving it. Right, well, I could maybe share that with someone, or I could think of someone else, share it. Maybe not today's not the right time, maybe next week or whatever. So I save stuff on Instagram. Some of it I post and share, but lots more I save using the save function. Those three little dots in the bottom right corner of my phone, and I save it and I categorize it, right? And I have different categories. One is, like, say, relationships, one is marketing, one is coaching resources, one is I don't know, whatever, right? But one of those that I have is labeled survival. And originally, when I'm going by memory here, but originally when I created the first thing that I saved under survival, and I created that folder or whatever you want to call it, my recollection is that I had seen something to do with, like, if you get kidnapped, if you get jumped, if you get mugged, like that kind of thing, right? Which is it can be, especially, like, most likely is true survival, right? What I found was, and I have probably those quote unquote folders under my save function. I probably have 40 or 50 different folders, right? And all kinds of topics that are of interest to me. Something that's funny, that's one folder, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So what I started to think about as I saw more and more of these, and I started, scrolling down, like when you first save something, sometimes you got to scroll down to whatever folder it's not on your screen. You got to scroll down to it. Um, And so what I started to do was, and I don't know if it was convenience, but I think it was more like just where my mindset was at. And I've stayed in this mindset for quite a while. Um, excuse me, sorry, until yesterday, I realized that I was doing this. So what I'd start to do was I'd go, okay, well, here's somebody talking about relationships. There's something, how do you survive a breakup? Not survive, they wouldn't say the word, but let's say, how do you handle a breakup, or, your mindset around your relationship, and if you're in a toxic relationship, for example, right? So I thought to myself originally, like, well, okay, so that's a relationship thing, but it really is survival too, right? Because if your relationship goes sour, and I've had this before, I'm been married twice, been divorced twice. If your relationship goes sour for reasons expected or unexpected, um, that's a that can feel like a survival situation, especially if you have children, if you have a lot of assets that are divided, and you're fighting for custody, and you're fighting for payments this way or that way or whatever. That can feel like, and it can be in reality, a survival situation for people. So I started to categorize these things that I was saving about relationships, many of them, not all of them, as survival, right? There would be something else would come up about business, right? And I think, well, okay, that's about business, but if I don't heed this, wisdom, or if I don't, if someone doesn't heed this wisdom, right, it could result in their business failing, which can lead to them struggling or giving up, or, you know, they'll be in a position where they're in survival mode, right? So I'll categorize that as survival. And I just became putting a lot of things, and it eventually became simplification, right? Well, I don't need 50 different things. A lot of these things are about survival. I'll just tuck them under survival. And I didn't realize what I was doing when I did that was I was starting to see every situation, uh, or oversimplifying situations or information that I would receive, to the point where I would go, okay, we'll just call that survival. We'll just save it under survival. Well, let's make that survival, right? And so I got thinking a lot more every day about, well, most of what I do, or most of what I consume, is about survival, right? And I started to I just realized yesterday that in doing that, I'm starting to see myself in survival mode, right? As opposed to in growth mode, as opposed to in um, opportunity mode, right? As opposed to abundance mode. Starting to see my life in different forms of my life as a survival tactic, right? Like, well, if I do this, then it's going to be harder to survive if that goes wrong. And I got to protect myself against this risk, because I got to number one, I got to survive, got to survive, right? And certainly there are times in life when that's really imminent and really critical, that you focus on your survival. You focus on minimizing very specific risks, uh, real or imagined, real, or I won't say imagined, but real, or like real tangible, or real in this possibilities, right? Possible risks, right? So, but that certainly shouldn't be a place where it's not healthy, at least for that to be a place where you think of, or where you live all the time. And I'm not talking about third world country living, this and that, like severe, outlier situations to North America. I'm thinking about your average North American, your average European, um, your average Western, or whatever kind of quote unquote lifestyle situation, right? Living constantly in survival mode is not healthy for you, right? And so, without realizing it, I had gotten myself into a mindset of survival, right? And certainly, when you're in growth mode, when you're growing, when you move into an abundance mentality, you know, I think there's some reason for caution as say, meaning slowly move in that direction. I'm not saying just throw all risk mitigation out the window, right? You still have to process some risk mitigation, and incorporate it into your decisions, and into your thought process, and into your mentality, right? But if you think about is survival, all you're going to get out of life is a survival situation, survival mentality, survival reality, right? So, so that's again, that's something that I had sort of slipped into, partly out of um, partly out of convenience or simplicity, and partly out of, I was probably overthinking. Let's just put it that way. I was overthinking it, and I didn't realize I had slipped into this survival mindset. So I want to encourage you to go beyond that and to think about what parts of your life where you might be stuck in a survival mentality, survival mindset where you don't need to be, right? For example, like I said earlier about career, right? If you're in a situation where you're doing a job you don't love or you even hate it, maybe there's some toxic people around you, some toxic structures in the company, um, whatever. Yeah, maybe it's just maybe none of that's happening. It's just that you just sort of lost your passion for what you do, and you want to do something different, or you have this bubbling passion in you to be an entrepreneur or do something completely different, right? Or retire, or I don't know. It's your dreams, right? It's in your head. So whatever it is that you're thinking about that you'd rather do, or wish you could do, or want to do differently, um, a way to move yourself out of survival mode there, where you're afraid to risk that stability or that security of that paycheck, is to start to develop yourself. There's a few ways you can go, right? One is you can get some coaching, right? One is you can take some courses. You can start to develop yourself. I talked about at the beginning, one of my guiding principles, right? Invest in yourself. You can invest in yourself in a way that, that you level up your skills, level up your abilities and your talents and your opportunities. And um, sorry, I lost my place on my thing here. There we are. That gives you the opportunity to do something different and something new with less risk, right? So while you have that security, while you have that stability, invest some of your money, even if it's a little bit, in some coaching, in some guidance, in some counseling, in some courses, in something. Maybe it's a set of paintbrushes and paint. You want to become a painter, or you want to paint on the side. Just get $25 kit or something, right? Just something. Get yourself started doing something different, that's a minimal risk that you can start to see yourself, um, you know, moving beyond that just survival stage, right? Again, that goes back to taking action, right? So you can see how this is all coming together, right? Your mindset matters, because if you're stuck if you're stuck in a survival mindset, you're not necessarily anti-growth per se, but you're going to lose out on opportunities to grow and become more and better and different than where you're at, assuming that you actually want something different in your life, right? And then of course, you've got to take some action, and it involves investing in yourself. So now, how can you do that practically? Well, again, I talked last week about this, and I'm going to talk about it more going forward. Is you need to find a guide, right? That could be, we'll get into some of that detail in a second, but a guide can help you start to see and think of your situation differently. And they can help you shift your mindset from one of survival mode to one where you can begin to move beyond survival and experience more. And a guy should have two qualities. They should, A, relate to what you've gone through or what you're going through, and understand your struggle and your frustrations and the factors inhibiting you from going beyond survival, right? Whether it's childhood patterns from your parents, cultural, societal, environmental, around you, things that are affecting your mindset, keeping you stuck in survival mode. They should understand that, and they should empathize with that. And they should be able to help you see yourself beyond survival, and they should be able to help you move yourself beyond just mere survival, because they have gone through survival themselves, or they have guided others to see and move themselves beyond survival, right? um, and again, not everyone that's been through a transformation or gone from survival to beyond survival can necessarily empathize with you or with other people. And sometimes they do that, and they do that in a very um, uh, selfish way, or they do that as a scarcity mindset way. They move forward, but only for themselves, right? They don't want to care to see anyone else move forward. So make sure you get someone that can empathize with you, and has the skills, has the ability to help you, right? And of course, you have to be able to access their knowledge, wisdom, experience, or guidance, whether that's through books, videos, interviews, podcasts, coaching, or counseling, or some way that you can access their help, right? That's a guide you can choose. You can always choose a different guide, a quote unquote better guide as you go, a guide that'll challenge you more, or a guide that will challenge you differently once you kind of get going. But get started, find a guide to help you get started in the meantime. All right. What else here? Sorry, I lost my place. I'm in trouble with my mouse. Okay, so again, I have some great coaches in the cohort. Last week I talked about Coty Walker. I have other great coaches in the cohort. If Coty is not a great fit for you, that's cool. There's other coaches that you can access virtually and or in person, and I can also help you with this myself. So here's what I recommend you do. If you recognize that you've been stuck or are stuck in some kind of a survival mode situation, number one, comment on this video, comment beyond survival, okay? Comment on this video or send me an email. I'm going to put my email address, we're here, banners. Put my email address here on the screen. You can send an email to, whoops. You can send an email to this email address here, Cory@CoryVance.com. There's no E in Cory. I'm going to leave that up for a while. So you can either, like I said, comment below this video or send me an email there and just say beyond survival. That's all you have to say. You don't need to tell me a story. You can tell me a story if you want, but you don't have to do any more than that. That's just a simple action you can take. You can, I guess I don't know if I can let me create that real quick. Yes, let's go beyond survival, right? So that's, why don't you just type that again? Like I said, if I don't know if you can copy and paste it from where you're at, but you can just type that in the chat in the comments, or send me that email, and the email again goes to Cory@CoryVance.com. Okay, and what will happen is I'm going to either reply to your email or DM you with a private link to book 30 minutes in my calendar. Okay. Why 30 minutes? Because I think 15 minutes is too little. I want to hear a little bit about what you're doing, and then I'll help you in that 30 minutes to with at least one strategy to help you to go. So you comment or email me. I'll reply with a private link. And then you show up for that appointment, right? Show up, give me your 30 minutes. I'll give you at least one strategy to help you move your mindset and your life beyond mere survival to a point where you can thrive and you can start to enjoy more an expanded life. Okay. So do that now. Comment if you haven't already. Comment beyond survival below this on this video, or send me that email right now, just saying beyond survival to Cory@CoryVance.com. And what's going to happen there is one of two things, right? Either you won't do it, or you want to stay stuck, or you're afraid to take one simple action, which that would be, and you're just going to continue being frustrated, and you're going to watch other people go beyond survival while your dreams slip away. And I don't want to see that for you. I want to see you start to see your life and the world around you in a new way, and with a broader perspective of what's possible for you, and see new opportunities to enjoy a new reality. That's what I want to see for you. So that's the other option if you take that step. So real simple step, and I think it'll be easy for you to connect and just to start to get yourself in a new direction there. So ideally, what's going to happen. The transformation doesn't necessarily happen overnight, but you can start to see yourself go from survival mode to thriving, again, in the life and mindset that will help you live the life you've been dreaming of, life you've been thinking, in the back of your head, someday I want this, someday I want that, right? You're going to start to see that someday become closer and closer and become eventually today. So you can go from frustrated, stuck, fearful to the life that you've been wanting to experience. That's what can happen. So again, it won't happen all at once, but you can make a sudden shift in your mindset, like I did yesterday. I went, wow, I didn't realize that was what I was doing. I didn't realize that was how I was seeing things. And I can see how that mindset has affected the choices I made and the experiences I'm having every day in my life. So let me help you with that. Okay. With the right guidance, you can start down a new path today. And hopefully you've gotten something out of this live that you can take and go, huh, that's interesting. I think I can use that. And if you have, or if you haven't, I still want to encourage you to comment below or send me an email at the email on your screen there and just say, again, beyond survival, let's get you beyond survival, right? So comment below, send an email. I'll see you over there. Otherwise, it's been great having you. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you're up to. I want to hear how I can help you. And we'll do that soon. We'll connect soon. And otherwise, for everybody else, I'll see you next week with another live Monday morning mindset masterclass. And that one should be on Monday next week. My calendar is clear enough that I can do that on Monday. So come what may, that's the plan. All right. Look forward to seeing you there, or seeing you in the chat, or seeing you on the email, or seeing you in a 30-minute meeting. I look forward to it. And you have a great rest of your week. Cheers. Some music here.